tightening remains essential. Fiscal consolidation should prioritize the swift implementation of tax policy to remove extensive tax preferential treatments and simplify the tax system. Carefully calibrating the monetary stance to avoid its premature softening will help anchor inflation expectations, while greater exchange rate flexibility will support price competitiveness, rebuild foreign exchange rate reserve buffers, and strengthen the economy's resilience against external shocks. A comprehensive strategy to boost revenue and reform expenditures is crucial for supporting increased social spending and infrastructure investment. Bangladesh's persistently low tax-to-GDP ratio underscores the pressing need for tax reforms aimed at building a more equitable, transparent, and streamlined system, one that ensures sustainable revenue growth, reduces widespread tax exemptions, improves compliance, and distinctly separates tax policy from administration. Through thorough and well-sequenced financial sector reforms are essential for maintaining stability. Legal reforms should align with international standards, and the authorities must move quickly to implement new frameworks that enable orderly bank restructuring while protecting small depositors. Effective asset quality reviews, AQRs, strengthened risk-based supervision, and improved governance and transparency will be critical to restoring confidence and supporting the sector's health. Simultaneously, institutional reforms to enhance Bangladesh Bank's independence and governance will be critical for maintaining long-term macroeconomic financial stability and for the successful implementation of financial sector reforms. Sustaining the pace of structural reforms is crucial for tackling the country's economic challenges. Improving governance and increasing transparency will play a vital role in creating a more favorable investment environment, boosting foreign direct investment, and expanding export sectors beyond ready-made garments. Progress in anti-money laundering risk assessments and enhancements in data quality are equally important. Enhancing resilience to climate change is key for mitigating macroeconomic and fiscal risks. Improving institutional capacity and ensuring more efficient use of resources will support progress toward climate objectives. The government should prioritize climate-responsive fiscal reforms and direct investments towards sustainable, resilient infrastructure. In addition, effectively managing climate-related risks will help safeguard financial sector stability. Discussions are continuing with the objective of reaching a staff-level agreement in the near term, including during our April 2025 IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, to pave the way for the completion of the combined third and fourth review, which has a lot of uncertainties because of the recent shocks with the tariffs. So in other words, we cannot conclude with a baseline framework at this point. We will continue the discussions about the framework for Bangladesh, for the region, for the world, as we go to Washington and as we expect the World Economic Outlook announcements in, I forget when.
April 22nd at 9 a.m. DC time.
Yes, and incorporate this in our assessment for FY25, but more importantly for FY26. So I can assure everybody that the discussions are going on track. It's just that the issues that we are discussing are very difficult. Revenue mobilization, we had these discussions in the past, flexibility of the exchange rate, and the discussions now is that there will be continued engagement until, with the recognition that we reach a staff level agreement in the near future.
Let's take the question.
We have been discussing with the authorities for a number of reviews now, right? Our approach, the reform we recommend, is not full flexibility. is an intermediate regime that allows for full flexibility in the future, and maybe in the medium term, not even in the short term. It allows for the ability of the country to sustain some big shocks because of the thin financial markets. We don't want to, put those financial markets into a big risk. But in the future, it allows for the flexibility, full flex as we call it, and that's what we have been discussing with the authorities. The authorities have some concerns about the timing, and timing issues are what we have been discussing, but also some issues about maybe volatility in the market after you implement that reform. And this is the kind of difficult discussions that we have, but we are in very good path, and we are hoping that we will be reaching a staff level agreement in the near future. On the NPL issues, let me invite
Ivo is here.
Ivo. Yeah, here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your question to the health part of the economy. So to deal with NPLs, the authorities are making efforts to improve recovery and enforcement of NPLs. In that context, the new legal framework to improve corporate insolvency framework and also to identify and remove impediments to recovery NPLs are the two steps in the right direction.
The question was about, The question was about the flexibility of the exchange rate and the market conditions right now. We also see that the illegal exchange rate with the official exchange rate difference is very small, and we praise the authorities for this. There is, I think, an agreement between us and the governor, Bangladesh Bank, on flexibility. There is no doubt that we are all want to move in the same direction. We see more flexibility of the exchange rate regime in Bangladesh. Now, one of the questions was, is it the right time to do this now? From the perspective for where we stand as IMF and looking at the reform and the history of it, right? We have been having discussions about this crawling peg for at least 1 or 2 years now. This is the right time actually to go for this flexibility. Again, this is not full flex. This is a crawling peg, which allows for some guidance around the band, but also allows for full flexibility in the future. That's one point. The second point is that while we see that reserves are stabilized, and again, we give a lot of praises to the authorities for that, because if you remember, for a number of years, 2 years, the reserves have been showing a steady declining trend, worrisome, now are at least stable, but we haven't seen an accumulation of these reserves. We expect with more flexibility, you will have this accumulation in the near term. Then regarding the outlook. Against this background, the discussions focused on preserving macroeconomic stability and bolstering the country's resilience to external shocks. So Bangladesh GDP growth fell to 3.3% year-on-year in the first half of FY25, down from 5.1% in the same period in FY24, reflecting economic disruptions caused by the popular uprising, a tighter policy mix, and heightened uncertainty that weighed on the investment. After peaking at a decade high of 11.7% in July 2024, headline inflation eased at 9.4% in March 2025, but remains well above Bangladesh Bank's target range of 5 to 6%. To address the mounting external financing gaps and ensure a continued decline in inflation, near-term policy visited Dhaka April 6th since today, said the 17th, to discuss economic and financial policies in the context of the combined third and fourth review. Under the IMF program, Bangladesh is seeing very good progress and signs of recovery and macro stability since the uprising last summer. And the interim government, led by the chief advisor, the financial advisor, and the governor, should be praised for this progress. However, the economy also continues to face challenges and significant external financial needs. The recent external shock and evolving developments are compounding these challenges and injecting significant uncertainty